Get ready for sports, news, and entertainment. All right here, your 7 minutes with Simmons starts right now.
Don't go in the beaches, guys. Don't do it, all right? Don't swim on the beaches at all. Welcome back to episode number 24. This is 7 minutes with Simmons, as always. Your host, Christian, right here in the flesh. I couldn't believe it the way I woke up this morning, and as I usually do, I get on the phone with one of my really good friends, Preston Sibley. We talk a little bit about our week of content creation, what we're looking to produce for the upcoming week, and Preston's like, hey man, I got a story for your podcast. Huge shout out to Mr. Sibley for this one. There is E. coli. Stay out of the water is the name of the article coming from the Standard, and it's unbelievable. At two Niagara public beaches, based off of a recent study done by Niagara Region Public Health, have deemed that both Sunset Beach and a few others have E. coli. They're reportedly being found in samples at Sunset. Like, that is, what a shock and just tremendously scary. I've been to Sunset Beach 2 or 3 times now this summer, and I'm concerned. Like, do I need to go to a doctor? Like, I'm very worried. And one more story, local steamy start to the summer for Niagara, folks. Be sure to get ready. Next Monday, temperatures could be hitting 30 degrees Celsius. Environment Canada calling for that hot and humid end to spring and start to summer here in Niagara. The heat paired with the heavy moisture causing that hot and sticky sensation as shirts cling to torsos. And we're clinging to hockey. That's what we do here on this podcast because I don't know anything about any other sports apparently. So we're going to talk about hockey, specifically the Olympic roster. Canada is set. Well, half set. Not even half, but we'll take a look at a couple of points to break down. Your first 6, who are they? Some of the fringe players that could, if they play their cards right over the next season or so, squeak into that roster. And then, of course, the goaltending situation, always a big conversation when it comes to these teams. What are the options? Is Binnington coming back from the Four Nations? We'll get into that. And, of course, I always want to hear your opinions, guys. If you do have any notes on anything that happens in these podcasts, be sure to leave them down below. I got one guy who comments every time. Shout out to Lane Lounsbury. He's my regular commentator, this guy. Commenter, I should say. Regular. On the regular. He lets me know what he's thinking. So the rest of you guys, it's an invitation. Please flood my comment sessions. Anyways, your first 6, who are they? It's pretty straightforward. You got your usual suspects, Crosby, McDavid, Makar, McKinnon. The C-triple-M, all right? That's what you got across the board. Brayden Point, who I guess is now one of Canada's sons as well. He's in there. And I don't know how I feel about this one. And then your last man in is Sam Reinhart. Sam Reinhart. Not a bad pick at all. Guy posted 112 points in the regular season, adding a Selke notable mention and a big-time piece of most likely a repeat Stanley Cup champion team. He rounds out that top 6 pretty nicely. But what's going on with this Brayden Point thing? Like, I would say I'm pretty happy with the initial 6. I think it's a strong core to build the team around. But is Brayden Point that good? Like, you're putting him in there before Marner. You're putting him in there before anybody else on that list, Canadian in origin. I mean, he scored 42 goals last season, but I don't know. Does he produce more than Marner or any of Canada's other options up front? I don't know. I'll leave that to the hardcore Olympic couch coaches out there, but I don't know. Like, we're talking about who's not there. There's no Mitch Marner in the first group. Kind of makes me happy. Mitch, we all know what it is, what his nickname is after that terrible performance in the playoffs this season. I can totally get behind him not being in this first group, as well as no Brandon Hagel in the first group. Josh Morrissey as well on the sidelines. Makar and Reinhart, I think, outclasses both of these guys. Hagel, definitely a downgrade from Reinhart. Makar, a much better defenseman than Josh Morrissey. But I do see both of those guys sliding into the final roster. So, like I said, I would say I'm happy with the initial 6. I think the executives have done a great job of shaping the start. They have a great foundation. I think the core is strong, and they can build out from there. Now, talking about the core, obviously it leaks all the way down into the defensive zone, into that blue paint. The crease is still empty, and that's a big part of this core. When you look at any Canadian team, both Olympic, Four Nations, going back to the Soviet era days, any team that's found success, they have that anchor in between the pipes. And when we look at it, you look at the short list, starting with the Four Nations starter, Jordan Binnington. He's a great candidate. I mean, so calm under pressure. So you like that heading into a massive stage like the Olympics. And then you got guys like Logan Thompson. You got Mackenzie Blackwood, Aiden Hill, Darcy Kemper. These guys all maybes. Binnington being the probably or the most likely to attend. And then Thompson, Blackwood, and company all kind of on that short list. So the goalie debate should be an interesting one. I mean, who do you like? I think Binnington has the pedigree. I see him fulfilling that need of a calm and composed goaltender. And then, I've always liked Logan Thompson a lot. But, we'll see where they go there. I think it's really important. Probably the most important discussion they're going to have down the stretch here. And then you get the fringe players. There's a decent bit of talent there that you might need to scout a little bit longer. You might need to allow them to bring their game to that next level. Hit the gym, if you want that spot on the Olympic roster. And these names were also on that Four Nations roster. And some people weren't 100% sold on these guys. You got Seth Jarvis, Travis Konechny, Travis Sanheim, Colton Parayko, and Thomas Harley. Who is Thomas Harley? Like that Four Nations roster, man. I don't know. I'm more of a mainstream guy. I know the big names. I'm also not chronically online like the rest of you web cretins, but I'm not sold on some of these names. I'm looking at this from an old soul perspective. I see like Doughty, got to be in there. Getzlav, got to be in there. These guys that have been staples in the red and white for years. I'm expecting to see them lining up at center and potentially standing at center in that picture with that gold bling hanging out of their mouth. But we'll see what happens. The Olympics, these set rosters are out, at least the first 4 or 6. If you want to take a look, go ahead, hop on the NHL website. I know Austin Matthews, the Tkachuk brothers, and company are heading to Team USA. In Sweden, you got William Nylander and a couple other very talented Swedes from the show. And, of course, the list goes on and on. Germany, Draisaitl in the mix, and plenty of other very interesting roster selections. So be sure to check them out. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. That's going to do it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Peace.